Tippy time, my damies, Top Cat here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are back on our Arc 3.0 Hunter. We are just spamming out grenades, and I'm surprised how deadly these things are. My mates Ares and Queen begged me to take a look at this, and these skip grenades are stupidly strong, way stronger than I ever thought they would be. This grenade splits up on impact, creating multiple projectiles that seek targets. So we're going to be using the Shinobu's Bow Gauntlets. This improves the skip grenade, and you gain an additional skip grenade charge. Skip grenade returns energy when you damage enemies. We will also be using the Spark of Shock Arc Fragment. This is going to give jolt to our arc grenades. And it's with this fragment that jolts enemies. Like, you hit somebody with a jolt, it turns them into a lightning rod and zaps everything else around it. The skip grenades are going to be improved by our Shinobu's Bow, so they got really aggressive tracking now. So they're always going to find a target, so they're always going to jolt a target. That way everything else is getting zapped, and that chain just keeps on going. As long as the grenade is doing damage, you're getting grenade energy back to you, and the recharge is good. So if you've got something like a yellow bar with high health, you can chuck like 3-4 grenades at this thing, and it just keeps on feeding that energy back to you, keeps on jolting everything else around it. So very, very good, a lot better than I thought it would be. So yeah, high damage grenades, surprisingly aggressive tracking. I chucked this grenade left and it seeks somebody on my right. I chuck it in the sky, grabs somebody on the ground. We also had the Surge Detonators mod in the artifact this season. Our arc grenades disrupt, stun, overload champions. This is extremely good, better than any other ability mod that I've seen in the artifact thus far. It just pairs perfectly with the skip grenade and makes for an easy stun 100% of the time. For our aspects, I am running Flow State. Defeating a jolted target is going to make me amplified. Coming into this season, Bungie up-talked amplification. I'm like, what, so we just get to go faster? This ain't Scorch, this ain't volatile rounds. We just get to go faster on Arc? That doesn't seem that exciting. But amplification is really, really good. Whilst we are amplified, our dodge recharges significantly quicker, you are more resilient whilst dodging, and your reload speed is greatly increased. And this is part of the niche that makes Arc 3.0 what it is. You know, with Solar, we done range melees to do things damage from afar, but with Arc, we're getting right up under their nose, so we can do damage, be resilient whilst we're doing so, and not have to worry about the consequences, as we do have significant resilience whilst we are dodging. So we're always going to be amplified because our grenades are always jolting targets. I'm also running the Spark of Focus. After sprinting for a short time, your class ability regeneration is increased. This pairs up with our Flow State to bump up our class ability regen. I'm doing this as we've had to increase our grenades stats and our resilience stats in a lot of our builds thus far, so I've had to take down my mobility. That way my mobility timer is still much in line with your 100 mobility that you'll normally have on a hunter. So even with a 30 mobility hunter, I've never felt like I did not have a dodge available to me. I am running the Gambler's Dodge next to somebody to get a full melee charge given back to me, but I'm actually using the Disorientating Blow. Striking an enemy with this melee blinds them and amplifies you. Now there's a couple of reasons I've gone for this melee over the style of the combination blow. One, I find there's better exotics if you want to go for a punch fest style of gameplay, which is a great style of gameplay, but I just feel with this, with grenade spam, I'd rather get the amplification and get out of there. Also, we are using another thing that is going to be predominantly using our melee charge, which is the Tempest Strike. This fun arc aspect has been improved dramatically since its last incarnation. So you slide, then do your melee, and you're going to unleash a devastating arc wave along the ground, much like a Waveframe GL. It also is going to jolt any target it hits, so you can have multiple lightning rods from one attack, which is truly great. So what I'll do is use a Disorientating Blow to set up weapon kills or chain kills of some nature, and the main focus of my melee charge is the Tempest Strike, so I can just go in there, jolt everything, and just wipe out a whole mess of ads. Now there are two new guns that make this build really shine. the Tarnished Metal, and the Brigand's Law. This is because of the perk Volt Shot. So after defeating a target, we reload, and this will give Jolt to the next target hit. Now I took the Tarnished Metal Scout Rifle into a 1600 Nightfall, the Light Blade, earlier on today, and it is a godsend, and I truly think this Scout Rifle will be really good in in-game PvE activities. But the Brigand's Law is just oh so tasty. It really seems to marriage well with the identity of the up-close and personal Arc 3.0 Hunter. The jolting is fantastic, and you only have to target one enemy and they all go down. I'm using Spark of Ions as well, so whenever we defeat a jolted target, this is going to create ionic traces for us. And Spark of Discharge, Arc Weapon Final Blows have a chance to create an ionic trace. So this way we got one guaranteed, possibly two, that's just going to keep on feeding back more energy so we can keep up with the grenade spamming. If you wanted to hit a little harder, the Seasonal Exotic Fusion Rifle is a good swap out for something that hits a little bit more, but personally I find this sidearm just works oh so sweet with this build, and I couldn't recommend it more. Not to mention that every time we get a jolt from the sidearm, that we're getting our amplification boosted back up again, so always amped up so we can always jolt. And I just find the Brigand's Law is the perfect entree to the Skip Grenade's main course. I am running Blink for my jump. I might be preaching to the choir, but I could not recommend this highly enough. It is a super aggressive jump and really good in in-game activities, as it is hard to track them and allows you to make aggressive plays. For my super choice, I am using the Gathering Storm, of course. Chuck out a nice big lance there and it just jolts everything. It lasts about 10 odd seconds. It's good to have a range super on the Hunter finally. But I'll leave this to you. We're not speccing into it as such, so it really doesn't matter which super you lean towards. And until they fix the bonus super damage mod in the artifact, I probably won't be doing so. For my primary choice, I'm using Izanagi's Burden. This is great for boss DPS. It's also great for anti-barriers in terms of champions, so it's going to be very high on the list of weapons I'm going to be using this season in that primary kinetic slot. But depending on the activity, I might rotate it out for an Arbalist or a Witherhoard. For my heavy, I'm still aboard the Storm Chaser hype train, but I'm pretty much always going to be using a linear of some nature, whether it's this one for Arc. The Cataclysmic is great one for solar damage, and then we had the Taipan. Once I've leveled this up, this will be extremely good Void linear to use. For my mods, I've got a high energy fire that way I'm always ready for a DPS phase, linear fusion ammo finder, and sniper rifle ammo finder. Elemental ordnance to create wells when we chuck grenades. We're chucking a lot of grenades. Focusing strike grants class ability when we do damage with our melee attack. And impact induction, causing damage with our melee attack, also boosts our grenade charge. We are running a firepower mod, thermoshock plating, and concussive dampener, another firepower mod, and a linear scav. On a class item, we are running lightning strikes twice. After throwing an arc grenade, gain increased grenade recharge rate. Arc final blows extend this duration. So our little pew pew sidearm is going to keep this abilities rising. The amped up mod is just going to keep you amplified for longer. So this is just great for when you're waiting for waves of ads, or like in a strike when you're running from point to point. That way you've got your amplification when you need it to engage at the start of it. Not 100% necessary, it's just a nice to have. And lastly, an elemental charge. This will just boost up our firepower mods. So I'll leave it down in the description for you guys to make it a little bit easier to follow. In summation, guys, we have a highly aggressive skip grenade build here. It jolts the living shit out of things. Our weapons jolt, our melee jolts, everything is jolting. And jolting is so good in this current season. It is the thing that the season is based around and makes everything just drop. If you liked the video, please smash that thumbs. If you're new and you liked it, please sub. Chuck any questions or suggestions in the comment section down below, and until next time, tippy tie my damies, what a tie.